Broadcasting live from the backstretch at Saratoga, this is the Handicappers Report. Brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Handicappers Report alongside Anthony Mormino, alongside Seth Merrow. I'm Anthony Mormino. I don't need the fan again because it's even more perfect than yesterday morning as we work our way towards the personal ends in tomorrow, the Travers amongst others on Saturday. But if you have some free time, I would suggest coming to the racetrack today.
Yeah, it was a really, really nice day. Actually, there was a little sprinkle. I don't know, 2/3 of the way through the card, maybe later than that. And it was like a sun shower kind of thing. But it's hard. I guess this year it's hard for us to get away from something. But it didn't affect anything. Like I said, it was a sprinkle. People weren't running for cover or anything, and it blew through pretty quickly. But today, first thing I checked, and everything on the turf. So good news there. And I guess you say, I think through the weekend, at least through Saturday, it looks pretty good. So good news there. I think it's going to warm up a little bit because it has been a little brisk here the past couple of months. Comparatively speaking, it's comfortable. But I think it will be a really nice afternoon.
I think it's supposed to be similar tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then maybe a little warm up temperature-wise because it does seem a little light for August. I mean, August is usually a very warm month. But I finished Saturday and 26 races in 2 days. It's reverting back to the old man get off the lawn. That's one fewer than 3 days in the old days.
Yeah,
so
I was thinking exactly.
I was surprised that 12 on Friday when you're looking at.
I think they're trying to catch up from the canceled day. I think it's
I'm sure that they are.
Yeah. So.
I mean, that is, it's going to be a big fight. So, then you got to wheel back at 11:30 in the morning. Well, you got to get here earlier. They'll have the run for the tables at 7:01 or 7 o'clock. And then.
Now, you made the point a few days ago that you would never have 12 on the Saturday before Travers going back. It wasn't that long ago, but there was that Travers ball. So they were kind of pushing people out because the ball was on the grounds. And then somebody reminded me the other day, I forgot all about it. There used to be the night before. For a while, they held it at Facing Tipton in their bar in the backyard. There was like a press thing the night before the Travers. That's disappeared too.
Disappearing acts.
Yeah,
not too many add-ons. There just seems to be a.
Well,
did you ever go to that one, or did you?
Oh yes, of course.
Well, when was this?
It was the night before the Travers, but again, it probably disappeared about the same time that Ball did, I would guess. Because I had forgotten all about it. Somebody mentioned it the other day, so I would guess probably.
I'd be intrigued to who sponsored it and get them on the phone.
It was an Ira thing. It was
Ira sponsored a night for the press.
It was for the press. Yeah, it was for the.
I never got my invitation.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who all was.
Who did get an invite?
But it was the press box has changed certainly, but it was a decent crowd over there. So.
So what do you and the four others do each day?
A little more than that. Well, typically it's a little more than that. I mean, there's Grenig and Welch are always there, so that's Wilkins always there. McAdams typically there. So we're a little.
So you got it surrounded.
Yeah, but you and I have mentioned a bunch of times.
Oh,
you go to any other track, most of the tracks. Let's put it that way. Nobody covers the day-to-day of tracks, and so it's hard to find out when something happens on track. It's hard to get the sauce.
Right. That's the, I think it's the old, the first question in metaphysics? If a tree falls on the forest and no one hears, does it make a sound? I mean, how do you, that's one of the things we talked about. Now, I'll give you an example. The other day we had, I was with my very close friends and some newbies at the track, we had an inquiry. And they were completely lost in what was going on. And the silence doesn't help the people. I said, well, this is the case in point where, because I do think that we would learn stuff about the stewards and the jockeys, but mostly the stewards about the types of questions they ask, how the votes go, etc. Especially on ones where you think maybe it's frivolous. You'd like to see how. I've always said the greatest audio ever would be the Ali Moose takedown, like Jerry Bailey telling you the stewards, you have the wrong horse. Like, how do you, a day where, and that's where I just think we alleviate all of it by just having it run in real time. I want the audio and the I want to get a feel for it. And I don't understand the hurdle. I don't understand the blockade because it's not going to be an R-rated movie. It's just going to be a discussion. And
they do that over in Australia.
I tell you, I love it. They bring you in the room. You sit down like you're going to the principal's office. They have, and they go at it. But we just can't. And I always tell people, I'm being facetious because the reason we don't have it is they don't want to do it. It's not that hard. I mean, it's just they just don't want to do it for whatever their terrible reasons are. But because I would love to hear some of the questions on the frivolous ones, like, really, this is what you're talking about. So,
the frivolous ones, though, I think in the heat of the moment, it probably seemed different from the perspective most of the time. So occasionally, there's one where you're like, oh, come on. But most of the time, I think there was a little bit of a bump or something. On reflection, and when you get to see it, probably the guy who claimed it even thinks, okay, I took my shot. It's in the moment, it seemed like something. On reflection, maybe not so much. I always
guilty remain nameless. But do you remember when a Hall of Fame jockey claimed foul in the King's Bishop on the wrong horse?
Oh no.
Yeah, you can look it up and find it. But it was like my buddy and I, who at that time were probably in the midst of attending the races every day for 10 years, were like, that's not even the right horse.
There was one the other day that they didn't take down that I thought.
I don't think the jockey was known for being in a Mensa group, but it was just like, what are you doing?
Yeah. But again, in the heat of the moment, I kind of get it.
And I don't mind that, but then you're like, so when you call him on, the jockey got to go make the phone call. And you're like, well, what do you got? Maybe I don't have anything. We'll wrap this up. So, but
on second thought.
So off the turf yesterday, boy, I'll tell you that kudos to the general public because I'm telling you, there were so many horses that I selected that the general public pounded the bejesus out of. And I'm like, I don't want this horse at 1-20 in the opener. I'm pretty sure he got the race he wanted.
Protective looked pretty good in there at $2.
Well, I wouldn't say pretty.
Sundial. My dark horse play today. I alluded to it in here yesterday, 7-2, and I have to admit, until I was in here really closer, looking at it more closely, I didn't realize 7-2 was the favorite. And so then you add that in, and I said, I don't know if we'll get that price. Well, we had a win with the dark horse play today, but at $5.50. That's not really dark horse material,
fit the
but
definition.
We at least got the win. And again, I said yesterday, I was kind of stuck because looking at the weather, I had, narrowed my choices down to dirt races, so I wouldn't scratch with my dark horse, and so I had limited options. And 7-2 was kind of borderline, and but yeah, they nailed that one. Running Ray in the 7th with Tyler Gaffleone on board. Just to update you on the current stats: Irod Ortiz, a 5-race lead over Tyler Gaffleone. Flavien Prat third, so it's 37-32, 30 for Prat, and sitting fourth, Dylan Davis with 24, who's just, again, red hot, tied next at 20, Jose Ortiz and Manny Franco. Junior Alvarado, that was a fun interview. If you didn't see it, pull it up on YouTube. Junior Alvarado yesterday, he's tied at 15 with Luis Saez. Trainer side of things, Chad Brown with a 3-win lead over Mike Maker. 24-21. Todd Pletcher at 17. Mott and Rice sitting at 13. Mark Cassie, who continues red hot with another win yesterday. And the nightcap, Mark Cassie sitting at 12. But, on the season, having a really, really good season. So there's your lineup there, trainers and jockeys. And again, the stories on the jockey side, I think Irod Ortiz is in the lead, but the stories to me are Flavien Prat with, I think he has 11 stakes wins at this point, and Dylan Davis with the crazy price horses he's been bringing in.
I agree. I mean, it's I think it was like 2011. There's a great Sally Field line in Absence of Malice, the second to last scene where she's a journalist. She says something. It's true, but it's not accurate. And I think that's where a lot of times you just are like baseball fans, right? I know you're not a big baseball, but if you're a Yankee fan in 2009, Alex Rodriguez was the best postseason player, but he didn't win the American League Championship Series. He didn't win the World Series MVP. But if you watch the games, you knew who was the best. Now, if you go to an almanac now, it wouldn't appear that. You wouldn't learn that because it's not printed as such. And this is an example where, Dylan Davis has had, in my opinion, the best meet. Maybe that's through the prism that I look at, but it's really a remarkable meet, the type of meet that I have to go back to 99 in Edgar Prado.
Yeah. I don't remember anybody putting it together this kind with these priced horses and doing it consistently from day one, essentially, with the Queen's MG.
Right. And I think one of the reasons that has perpetuated that, Seth, is Irad and Flavian and others. But the fact is it's even when he's white hot, it's hard in the individual races to see him over the mounts that the other gentlemen are taking, and so what happens? He wins. It's another $19 winner.
Yeah.
Wins. It's another, $22 winner. You're like, typically these things, get captured in the mind and it goes away. I'll tell you something I made this a long time ago. One of the few things I was ahead of the curve, I said, there will be days when the Ortiz brothers, I'm sure is how I put it, there'll be far more days when they have multiple wins combined than days they get shut out. I think they've probably been in New York like 4 months and you can see it.
Yeah.
I'm like, you just can see it. So it's been great. And, quick note talking about stats, and I'm the guy who loves them, but Salvation was the goods yesterday for me. At 9-1 for the first timer for Christophe Clement. But Sweet Fantasy was able to loaf on the front end and make it look too easy. But the stats will say that Christophe Clement, did not have a first out winner. And that is true. But he had a horse ready to win first out. But there was a horse, in my opinion, if the dynamics of the race had been different, I think Salvation maybe wins at $20. But Sweet Fantasy, I'm a pace guy, had a soft race. And what a surprise. They had energy in the lane. So
I won the battle, lost the war in the John's Call, where I said handicapping yesterday. I'm going in this direction because I think this horse may pop out of the gate and be able to lead them all the way around. Well, mine scratches, and I didn't use the other horse who did pop out of the gate and lead them all the way around.
The scratch changed the race.
Yeah.
Apparently, one person figured it out.
Yeah.
So for 13 furlongs, and that's got to be something that new people to the track just don't it just befuddles them. They're like, you ran around the track 3 times.
There was a lot of cheering the first time I was up in the press box laughing because
cheering in the press box.
No, there was some cheering I could hear coming, from the apron, folks exposing themselves as first timers or whatever as they came through the stretch the first time. It got loud. So clearly they were unaware.
Wasn't that incident at Gulfstream about 4 years ago where
there's been a few of them where the jockey.
Please tell the jockey.
Yeah, there's been a few of those actually. All right. And you would supposedly when they go in the gate, somebody is assigned to or if there's a
Jeff Carl told me that when they had the mile at Laurel, like when you go, they tell you it's the second finish line. And when I went to Laurel, this is even worse. Even if you're brain dead, there's a light.
Yeah, there's a light around, little like a neon, around the pole.
Let's get to the business.
So, all right, let me hit on promos because today at the Clubhouse Racebook, $100 play the board contest. So a little extra fun at the Clubhouse Racebook on this Thursday afternoon. Tomorrow it's the Players Bankroll. Swing on by the Racebook, and if you get on the team, you get to select the plays during the day. Each player, I think, gets a race. Then at the end of the day, The winnings are split between the team. That's tomorrow, Friday. Saturday, it's the King of the Hill contest down at the Clubhouse Racebook. Still relatively new. You can go down and have a little fun with the King of the Hill contest. Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. The bounty bet returns on Saturday. Don't forget there are multiple pick fives, so it is the final pick five on Saturday. Play it with your Capital TV bet account, and you have a shot at the bounty. Sunday, I'll have the $150 pick three bankroll. Entries will open tomorrow and close on Sunday, so keep that in mind to jump in to enter the $150 pick three bankroll. The Travers Day bankroll closed late yesterday, and you should be alerted, if not already, but sometime today, if you made the team for Kevin Cox's Travers bankroll coming up on Saturday, obviously. And coming up in a few minutes, well, 3/4 of an hour, racing across America. Thursday means a visit from Daily Racing Forum. Dave Grenig will be in today, do a little preview and review, look at some of the stakes coming up, and also some thoughts on what we've seen. Brad Cox will jump in tomorrow. Idiomatic and randomized and Soul of an Angel. It should be a lot of fun tomorrow. I said randomized.
Did he have the first two win yesterday?
He did, Sacrosanct, and we'll hit on that as well, and some more.
Otherwise, they just buried at the windows.
Yeah, and a little bit later on, we'll be joined by Kevin Cox, Brooklyn Cowboy, to give some selections for today as well. So keep all that in mind for 10 o'clock, racing across America. And I'm just looking.
I think that was the first winner for Honest Mischief, who is the son of Into Mischief.
I think he'll be all right. It's just early in the sire career at this point, but
absolutely
things will shake out. So all that coming up today and throughout the week at Capital TV.
And coming up immediately, the DePaula Chevrolet Play of the Day.
The race for savings is going on now at DePaula Chevrolet. Pick your Chevy, pick your payment, and DePaula delivers. Or every Chevy, 0 down payment, 0 first payment, 0 security.
So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
Hey everybody, Steve Bick back with you for the Thursday DePaula Play of the Day. Couldn't get it done on Wednesday. Midnight Express flattened out. Really didn't get the speed coming back like we had hoped and frankly were worried about. So let's get one on Thursday, and it's the 7-horse in the 10th race. This is that maiden special weight for fillies and mares, 5.5 on the grass. Miss Shop's Into Mischief 3-year-old daughter. And of course, you remember Miss Shop, multiple stake winner, really nice. She's had a lot of nice babies. This one should probably have broken her maiden by now. Linda gets her onto the grass. She's been trying to do that, and today's the day. 5-1, shoplifting the 7 in the 10th. Your DePaula Play of the Day. Not going to talk to you until Sunday's play, so enjoy Travers weekend. Personal ensign on Friday, an unbelievable series of 5 grade ones culminating with an incredible Travers. Enjoy it. We'll see you on Sunday. Let's get lucky.
The race for savings is going on now at DePaula Chevrolet. Pick your Chevy, pick your payment, and DePaula delivers. Or every Chevy, 0 down payment, 0 first payment, 0 security.
So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from Clare Court. Looks like the member guest is about to kick off at Saratoga Race Course. If you're not familiar with it, usually when the member guest is, a club has to rent a bevy full of golf carts because there's more usage than any other time. We have a traffic jam like it's the 405 in LA with the golf carts. But day 31, Seth, and I think we've been able to say that since I think 94 was when we ran for 5 weeks for 3 years. Then they started that half a week thing. And I think that was 94 was the first time we raced beyond 30. And in the opener, St. Bred Fillies. Maiden special weights going 6.
For me, I have it 10, 2, 8, and 7. I put Viamonte on top off the debut. If you read the trouble line, it says, off heels. The jock did have to kind of pull back for a couple strides. So I think that the comment perfectly legitimate. This horse went off as the favorite that day for Joe Sharp and wound up second, but a well-beaten second behind Bellicose. Bellicose, I think, will turn out to be okay. Subsequently sold to Resolute Racing. John Stewart, new in the game and is spending a lot of money, and they're anticipating stakes next for Bellicose. So I don't think finishing second to that one is anything to be ashamed of. And I think, again, with the trouble, Viamonte in the second start might live up to the favoritism we saw in the career debut. Miss Welch in the second spot for me. Sibling Downtown Mischief won the first 3 starts and 4 starts out of the first 5. Trainer Jeremiah Engelhardt, okay with firsters and having a pretty good meet. And this one I thought put in decent third place finish in the debut. Good experience to build on. Third spot, I'll go with the Angels. First-time starter for Linda Rice by Omaha Beach. We know Omaha Beach can produce firsters. Dan produced a sibling called Maggie's Place that won the career debut. So I thought she might be intriguing as well. 5G, interesting by Vacoma from George Weaver. Interesting opener today, but for me, 10, 2, 8, and 7.
I agree. Your top pick is the complete opposite of running less well. Gets beat at 1-2. And now is looking at 6-1, which I found surprising because you have legitimate, trouble lines.
Yeah.
And David's as sharp as they come. Princess Mischief, an offspring of Honest Mischief, who broke through yesterday. I'm 6, 7, 8, as you could see, and pretty magical for Mark Henning. Mark had a first-time starter the other day that was incredibly fast from the gate and got to the top of the stretch and then got taken over. And I was starting to think, maybe that was practice, just gunned out of the gate, get some stamina, etc. But this is an offspring of good magic. We figured to receive a price. Mark not known for the firsters. Number 7, 5G, George Weaver's runner who looks to be prepping very well for the debut. And then with the Angel, Linda Rice sends out the offspring of Omaha Beach. Seth, I agree with you. I think this race is about 6 or 7 deep. I'm 6, 7, 8.
We didn't mention it earlier, but it is Military Appreciation Day up here today. So if you're in the military or former military, bring up an ID and free admission today at the racetrack, and well deserved for the folks who are or have served. Military Appreciation Day today at the track. All right, the second race, the Ballston Spa. Grade 2 event, $300,000. Fillies and Mayors going 1 mile and 1/16 on the grass. Again, they are on the grass today, and Chad Brown kind of has it surrounded in here with 4 of the 5. Todd Pletcher has the other one. What did you see in race 2?
As the race is, I'm very much anticipating seeing an athletic contest, but I don't have any feel whatsoever for the race. Hoosier Philly was. It's Thursday, so I'm in the Times Union. So, for me, it's 5-2-4 as a turf race. But I have no feel. I try to feel how, if I thought how the race is going to unfold, the 4, what is it, Butte Cachet, who that was my day at Keeneland. The Jenny Wiley, Frankie Dettori put the 25-1 shot on the front end in a grade 1. And, I think the first reaction you have is, well, that can't happen again, can it? Then wins the matchmaker, which isn't quite the race it used to be. Tell you how things changed, Seth. There was a time when the matchmaker might have been one of the 3 premier filly and mare turf races in the nation.
Is it still tied in with the breeding?
I think they still do. They still have the stallion shares that you could get. I should know how to pronounce it. I apologize. Copes, who I picked in the Diana, who had no chance. But Seth, I'm thinking the same thing today. She has no chance with this race setup. I have no feel for the race. So as a turf race, I have Gina Romantica on top. Copes, who I think has some talent there, is 0 for 3 in the United States at short prices. Well, it's not going to be a big price today. I don't have a feel. This is where I think you have an edge. If you really like one of if you really like one of the 4 at Chad, I think you have an edge. You have an edge over me.
I went 5-3-4. I just thought Gina Romantica was the best in here, not by a large margin, but I tilted towards that one. And as we've seen in the past with this kind of scenario, it's not unheard of that the longest Chad gets it done. And so I wouldn't argue, Delahaye, I think I put that one underneath beaten favorite last time coming in off that third in the matchmaker. I could see that one just as easily. So I agree. I mean, I think you can point to the entire field here and make an argument, but I'm 5, 3, and 4.
I mean, because I'm not going to sit here and say that I have a feel on paper. You would think, once again, there's going to be a loose leader. And also, we're going to find out how the turf plays, etc. On to the third, 11 furlongs on the inner entry-level allowance for the fillies and mares.
4, 1, 3, and 7, glittering lights on top. Seems kind of logical in here on the numbers. Looks to have the edge for Brendan Walsh. Comes in off a stakes try down at Laurel. It was an okay fourth, but again, on the numbers, if you buy the numbers, again, on the turf, the numbers aren't necessarily as potent, but this one seems to have a little bit of an edge. So I'll tilt there. In time, going out for Christophe Clement. Dylan Davis on board. Comes in, I think, off a couple of good recent starts that have this horse moving in the right direction, including that Saratoga start, which was the best of the races so far this year. So just moving in the right direction, prime for a good try. And Cy B in the third spot, lately raced runner for Cherie DeVoe. Last time, kind of clunked in the Belmont Oaks Invitational, but ran well in a stakes race just before that. I think probably a pretty good fit right at this level with this bunch. And again, lightly raced, there you would think still some upside potential, and Irod Ortiz on board in the third, 4, 1, 3, and 7.
And Crushed Ice, the 9 is a MTO for me. 1, 4, 7. I have the reverse of Seth's exacta for the turf race. And, honestly, I just felt, and I've stated this before, that I know it's an 11 furlong race. I know it's 3 turns. But there are times when I've watched the head-ons. I think post position matters. I like the fact that In Time should be able to comfortably save ground for a mile. I'll take my chances in a race that, just as with the Boston Spa, Seth, I think it's 4 deep here. I have Glittering Lights at 9-5 for Brendan Walsh coming out of a stakes effort at Laurel. And then Just Deny, I have to tell you, if gets lost to the wagering and she goes up to about 6-1, I'm very attractive. So in the turf race, 1, 4, 7.
All right, we're going to take a break, yes? No, it's my dark horse play of the day. Yes.
Try not to give out $5 winners.
It's a winner. But yes. I put the caveat out there yesterday. I could see that going, and it was I was limited to the dirt races, or I limited myself. But in this 10th race today, my dark horse offers some nice value, and I think we'll get some decent value. Being a Todd Pletcher firster, though, I don't know that we'll get to 12-1. But in the 10th race this afternoon, I'm going with number 9, Sen. Pletcher firster by City of Light.
The Sen.
City of Light this year.
City of Light, Paris. This is all coming together.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Oh, yes. Okay. I did not.
You're usually 4 steps ahead of me with these. And you whiffed on that one.
I knew I put the river together, but I didn't City of Light. I did not put that portion. That's clever. I like that. But City of Light, the sire, 40 first-time starters, 6 wins this year, 6 wins, 3 seconds, 4 thirds. So good numbers there. I mean, 9 exacta finishes and 40 starters, solid. The sibling Half Is Enough won the first 3 starts of the career. Now, they were all dirt sprints, but another sibling called Carver won in the 3rd start of the career. So I thought there was win early, top and bottom. And we're getting 12-1. Horse, nice steady string of workouts. I don't know if any of them are jumping off the page, absolutely. But just looking at the rest of this field, I mean, the morning line favorite, La Salvadorina, for Ray Handel, probably is deservedly the one to beat off the numbers. Linda Rice has one that's fired some okay numbers. But again, there are no world beaters in here. So I thought at 12-1, we'll take a shot with the firster from Pletcher that does have that nice win early breeding. So dark horse play of the day today, race 10, horse number 9, Sen.
The Sen.
Right.
Just like the Thames.
But I wasn't still, I knew it was the river, but I still wasn't sure how to pronounce it.
Yes.
So again, brought to you by the Dark Horse Mercantile and Impressions of Saratoga and downtown Saratoga, both right on Broadway, and great places to visit if you're up in the Saratoga area. Thanks to them for their sponsorship of the Dark Horse Play of the Day.
and I just saw an anomaly. Jim Bond in the Rolls Royce by himself.
Occasionally you see.
Very
although
rare.
Typically,
Not even
at
the
least
dog.
the dog is there.
The dog wasn't even there. Jim was just out by himself and said, well, I'll tell you a funny story. At LAX, about 4 of the terminals connect underground. And it's an enjoyable walk because they have many aviation factoids on the wall. But one of them that they swung and missed, and I've heard people do this. They've called Paris the city of lights, thinking that it's light bulbs, etc. And they did on this wall, and then somebody filled in, got rid of the S because it's city of light in a metaphoric sense, thinking and things like that. And then I noticed last year that they had redone the wall and they got Paris as the city of light. We'll be right back.
More than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 102-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 102 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
It only takes one upset to make history, and now you can be part of Saratoga's long tradition at the Dark Horse Mercantile. The Dark Horse Mercantile offers a carefully curated selection of clothing, gifts, and home decor, from one-of-a-kind vintage racing memorabilia to select brands like Barber and Under Armour, as well as exclusive Dark Horse branded merchandise. So celebrate the Dark Horse in all of us at the Dark Horse Mercantile, downtown Saratoga, where the smart bet is always the Dark Horse. Welcome back to the Handicappers Report. Seth, Merrow, and Anthony Mormino as we kick closer to Traverse Day, the highlight of the Saratoga meet coming up on Saturday. Great stakes card on Saturday. And again, tomorrow's the personal ensign with idiomatic and randomized, and I'll have Brad Cox on a little bit later as well. All right, 4th race of this afternoon on this Thursday at Saratoga. Plain vanilla 20,000 claimers going 3/4 of a mile.
I didn't have a great feel for this race, and I've said it many times before. If that is the case for you, and it probably happens 2 or 3 times a day, it's like don't land on the 5-2 shot or the 9-5 shot in this case, and I didn't. 5-3-1A for me, and Safa's Day second off the claim for a barn that seems to be heating up. Dylan Davis 8-1 on the morning line. We're coming back at 6 for half a tick below. I'll take my chances. For second, I have Capone making the first start since a $16,000 claim, but that was on April 11th. And generally speaking, that's not how the claiming game is played. So I don't think it was by design that this is the first start since April 11th, but we're inside. We have good early speed. We'll see. And for third, schedule the break for the number 8 post position is the 1A. So 5-3-1A.
Yeah, I put Capone down at the bottom, and you mentioned, the layoff. But then you look at the workouts and you go, oh, there's a nice little bullet workout there leading into this. So, but the bullet workout was July 5th. The next workout was August 15th. So it's I don't know. I put bottom of my mix because there is enough talent there in this field. But I'm 9-6-5-3. I put Brighter Days Ahead on top, on the outside for Jose D'Angelo. Comes in off a nice win here, claimed out of that, claimed for a 25 conditional tag, I think is a solid fit here. A conditional non-winners of 3. You get to non-winners of 3 and you move to this level. I don't know. I'm just looking here. Does anybody necessarily have – there's a 4-race winner in here. There is an 8-race winner in Safa's Day at 6. So there are some with more. But I think between 3 and then 4 and up isn't a huge leap. So Brighter Days Ahead on top. Master of Arms comes in off a seasonal debut at a Saratoga seasonal debut, where the horse showed a little speed before fading at 7. I think with that one under the belt and the cutback Master of Arms is playable. But I agree, the 9-5 I don't think is necessarily warranted, because I think it is far more wide open than that. Safford's Day in the 3rd spot. There are some back numbers that we're going to have to hope to get to. I don't think it's out of the question, though. Toss done a pretty good effort last time. Dylan Davis sticks, and I could see us getting closer to those. I don't know whether we're going to hit some of those 90s we see down there, but I think if we just move ahead notably, but not necessarily spectacularly, I think Safford's Day is a player. So in the 4th, I have it 9, 6, 5, and 3.
Around the nation, I've seen 4L certain jurisdictions. I don't know that I've seen 5L.
I don't think
I mean, listen, I'm not looking at this is not a disparaging comment. I'm not looking at Emerald Downs, overnights all the time. So there's lots out there, but I know that I've seen the 4L.
No, there are definitely 4. I don't think I've ever seen 5.
On to the 5th, it's a 3L going 6.
2 on 9 and 8, upside potential. Hopefully has some upside potential off the first 2 starts of the career, which were pretty good. 2 wins, 2 improving efforts number-wise. I could certainly see this one moving forward in the 3rd career start and getting a little class relief. Claimed for 40 out of the debut win, then went into a starter allowance. Now comes back for a $35,000 tag. Now, I could go either way with my thoughts here, hoping that this one benefits from all of that. But the last race, the starter allowance, it was a win, and it was in April. So now we come back up, a relatively long layoff, a relatively noticeable layoff, let's put it that way. And we come back for a tag. So, but they claim the horse for 40. They put money in the bank. This may just be a clever move to potentially get a win. And actually, I put upside potential in the 2nd slot. So I originally was kind of going back and forth. Improbable Journey was on top for me for Mike Maker. Upside potential maybe has that, again, with only 2 starts under the belt, so dangerous. But I think on the numbers we fired so far, Improbable Journey is the one to beat. So I did wind up putting that one on top. Similar scenario, though. Claimed for 50 and comes back for 35. But goes out for Flying P. Jay Provenzano, who I think had 2 more yesterday, in the lead on the owner side of things.
Dressed up for the occasion.
And, yeah, exactly. That red jacket was sharp. And I'm sure he's spotting to win here. So I'll go 2 over the 1, and then in the 3rd spot, 3-0, 15-1 on the morning line. I think this horse is playable. There's some back numbers. The Saratoga start last time was okay. It was a turf sprint. I think the turf to dirt move is intriguing with some dirt races underneath that are okay. So don't sleep on the number 9 in the 5th, 2-1, 9 and 8.
And please remember, it's Thursday, and I'm in the TU, and I'm trying not to weigh down the team. And just as a caveat, I mean, Improbable Journey is a major player here. If this race was on Friday, I mean, I can't take 10 8-1 shots and have a positive ROI and get my brains bashed in and make it impossible for us to make it 4 in a row. But Improbable Journey, first off the claim for a sharp outfit, is a favorite that I'm taking here in a race that as with the previous race, I'm not so sure. The morning line to me indicates separation in this race, and I don't think that truly exists. Linda Rice sends out the 3, second time off of a claim, who I think is very dangerous in here. And then Stingy for Joe Sharp, 2-3-5.
6th race this afternoon. It is a restricted maiden special event. Again, if you're new to the game, you're just kind of tuning in and getting into the game up here at Saratoga. These restricted events, maiden special events up here at Saratoga, particularly, you can get in and against 2-year-old they paid $500,000 for, $750,000, $1 million or more. But a few years ago, they added these, and the horses cannot have sold for more than $50,000 at auction. So it just offers some players a better spot up here at Saratoga in particular. It was a nice addition to the condition book. Maiden specials, mile and a 16th on the grass.
And to take it even farther, and I don't think it would fracture it that much, I wouldn't be adverse to a condition that the RNA is $100,000 to get those $65,000, $75,000 horses, etc.
Yep.
Because if you look at these are some, you would think the first thought would be, well, you're going to hit the ceiling. You'd be right on it. There are some very affordable horses in here. I did take a flyer in here, 152, Lotus Petal, an offspring of Taurus, who made one of my Breeders' Cups. And I still maintain may have run the fastest mile on the inner turf here ever, because I think all the records going back to 88 were set with the rails up, and he ran with the rails down. But I just took a flyer in here figuring that I didn't think my exposure was that great. We're inside. Terrific jock. I'll take my chance with Lotus Petal in the career debut. Mezcal, California, Ken McPeak's runner. 10-1 on debut, 43-1 in the second start. But I expect advancement today. And for third, Annie Goodbody, 43-1 from the outside, going 5.5. Did not run better than odds, but we're 8-1 on the morning line here. But I'm kind of interested, as I was with Salvation yesterday, for different reasons. I'm interested in Lotus Petal today at 8-1, 152.
I have it 5, 6, 7, and 9. I thought the 2 was interesting as well, but I put Mez California on top for Ken McPeak. Third start, stretches out after a couple of dirt sprints. The lone racing sibling was Anna Julia Forever. One in the second start, one in the fourth start. One of those wins was on synthetic. The other was on dirt. So we'll see how this horse makes out on turf. But I think it's interesting. With the 2 improving efforts, dirt sprints stretching out in the third start, an intriguing scenario to me. Tekka in the second spot, Linda Rice trainee, also with a couple of dirt sprints under the belt. So we're looking for a similar scenario here. The blinkers come off. That's an interesting move, perhaps. So we'll put that one in the mix. And Bossy Dish going out for Rudy off a couple of dirt sprints. So similar scenario for my top 3 in here, hoping that in the third career start stretching out. And that automatically is an angle I like. But the surface switch adds a wrinkle to it that I'm not totally sure how we're going to work it out. But if one of these does take to the grass, could appreciate it. Authenticate now goes out for my man Mike Dean. You have that one down the fourth spot. I think that horse could be a player off an experience builder at Monmouth. 5, 6, 7, and 9.
You have to use that experience builder. Take a quick break. When we come back, the late pick 4.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we cannot seem to get in within 4 lengths. Time is starting to run out when you have a 4-length lead, but the 9 ties is bothersome to yours truly. 12, 8, and 9. It looks like our 3-year winning streak is in doubt, but 10 racing days left, right? So we got a shot. Optional claimers 1X, 3-year-olds and up, 9 furlongs on the dirt.
7, 3, 1, and 4. I'm going to put headline numbers on top. It's Chad. It's Klarovich. They did what you would expect from this team with a well-bred horse. They won in debut, and nicely. They did it as the favorite. They'll come back at a short price today, but I think they're the one to beat in here off of that debut effort. Fade to Gray for Todd Pletcher. Put in a nice maiden breaker in the second start of the career, but did it on a turf to dirt move, so seemed to appreciate the dirt. And as opposed to the top pick who won at a mile, 1 turn down at Belmont at Aqueduct, Fade to Gray did it right up here at 1 1/8 miles, so already has experience the track and the trip. And then in the third spot, Camera also going out for Todd Pletcher. Turf to dirt move, has plenty of early speed, should be prominent throughout from the 1 hole. So I think Camera it is very interesting at the 10-1 price, the morning line. So 7, 3, 1, and 4.
Boy, if it isn't headline numbers to 7 down the road, I think it does become a very intriguing race. The race goes through the 7 for me, and I took a shot with Central Avenue making the second start of the year, just looking for an upset. I think I just think headline numbers is going to get bet very strongly. I'm signing up for 8 to 5 now, but I have to tell you, Seth, I think you'd be looking at 4 to 5. I just
Fade to Gray is going to take some. I think Fade to Gray is going to go later than that 5 to 1. But yeah, headline numbers will take plenty of action.
And based on the buyers, they should be far closer. But I just went with Central Avenue for a little bit of upset. I like the 9 furlong comeback race. If you think headline numbers is susceptible, second career start, I thought Central Avenue was one of the 2 to go to. I don't think 5 to 1 is going to hold up on Fade to Gray.
No, I don't either.
I don't think so. So 2, 7, 3.
And I'll be interested to see the action. Who could ask for Mold Takes? Stepping Out of Stakes Company, last seen on the Black Eyed Susan, ran in the Gazelle. It's a show course. So the 4 might take a little action as well. 8th race today, optional claimer with a C condition. They're racing for $120,000, and they're traveling 6 furlongs.
And he's in here, Gulfport, whose owners are anxiously awaiting a court date that they're not involved in, except they are involved in it for a stud fee here. 163 Disco Ball to me. I thought my under horses, are susceptible here, are vulnerable actually. And Disco Ball, even though I've said that some of David Jacobson's non-winners have been rough, done it first off the big claim, and then Gulfport, who's making only the 3rd start. Well, has made 3 starts since that hopeful and came back nicely the other day at Churchill Downs. Has had plenty of time to recover, but making the 2nd start and only the 3rd start since October 1 of 22. 163.
Yeah, an April start last year and then didn't come back until June this year. But I put him on top because I thought that June start, Steve Asmussen said, I'd like to get another one in, another little confidence builder before we head back to stakes. So I think that's going to be the game plan here. But off the return effort, Gulfport looks tough. 3-7-6 in the 1 entry for me. 2nd spot will go out to Runnin' Son of a Gun. Goes out off a 4th place finish most recently here at Saratoga, but that was at 7 furlongs. Lasix added today, and they cut back to 6. I think the horse will be interesting from the outside, and then Gun It in the 3rd spot. Talented runner, obviously, but there's over twice as many seconds as wins. I think you're okay putting this horse in the mix on the front end. I'm not arguing the horse could certainly win, but again, seems to finish 2nd or 3rd far more often than not, and it comes off the claim here and moves up a little bit. So we'll see, but there are numbers underneath that are absolutely good enough to mix it up in here. 3-7-6 and the 1 entry.
Take our final break. When we come back, the late daily double.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 102-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 102 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
The only only thing better than watching the races is watching your own racehorse. With nearly 20 years experience in the racing industry, Bonaventure Stables' share-based ownership program enables everyday fans to become part owner of a thoroughbred for far less than you might think, with all the ownership perks at Saratoga, Belmont, Aqueduct, and other great tracks. Experience the thrill and lifestyle of owning your own thoroughbred racehorse. Learn more at BonaventureStables.com.
And welcome back. Ninth race, inner turf course, model 16 state breds, 45 or 2X.
4, 3, 9, and 5. I'm going to put overacting on top. It's Chad. It's Klarovich. First 4 starts of the career are pretty good. The last couple, not so much. So I'm hoping for a rebound in here. Flavian Prat jumps on board. I think in this field, being lightly raced, and I think it's going to be a cozy fit. But I don't think invincible by any means. Can't Fool Me goes out for Horacio De Paz off a couple of good starts. Most recently went through the N1X level 2 starts back and then moved into this kind of company last time and ran well. So I think off of those last 2 should be a solid player. And Tom Morley has Salib in here, who again has been racing with this type of company in the past couple of starts off the claim. And the start 2 back right off the claim was pretty good. Last time, maybe not so much, but last time was also an off the turf, wound up to be dirt sprint. I think is a little more intriguing moving back to the turf today, but interesting also going the 2 turns, which is maybe a little bit of a question mark, but I think you'll get a little bit of value there as well. In the 9th, 4, 3, 9, and 5.
One of the things I admire and like about Chad Brown's runners is applicable, I think, here with the 4, Seth. If you put a red flare line through, which you are justified in doing in the Mount Vernon, which was an off-the-turf muddy, whether it's on firm going with the give in it, whether it's the career debut, whether it's the seasonal debut, this horse basically shows up and runs the same race every time. Very consistent. And you would think this might be a position as a 4-year-old, 3 races under the belt. We might break through that 80s comfortably, and overacting is my top pick. Spooky Lady, who has been in that ballpark also, could be very tough. And this is a race where this is a Thursday, remember, because I think if there's even greater separation than 5-2, 6-1, Spooky Lady does not deserve to be that far away from overacting. And then Can't Fool Me, Horatio De Paz, 4, 5, 3. I think if they go hog wild on the 4, I think the race is very competitive. I'll just leave it at that, I guess.
10th and final, scheduled to go off about 6:15 tonight. They're back on the grass, sprinting 5.5 for maiden specials.
1, 3, 10 for me, folks, in the finale. And Al Stahl Jr., our friend, I should have looked this. The first 3 days, I feel very confident he won a single race the first 3 days. He's, according to my PPs, has run 8 times with 4 winners. Well, that obviously speaks very well. We're on the inside sprinting. We probably need to break well, but I'll take my chance with number 1, Unhidden Gem, an offspring of No Nay Never, who is a son of Scat Daddy. Chad Brown sends out the 3 for the second start of the season. Never been off the board. And for third, Biles, first-time starter for Richard Dutrow. On the outside, a grandson of Dabawi. Maybe this is just practice, but we're going to be a big price. See if we can pick up a small piece. 1, 3, 10 in the finale.
Again, dark horse play of the day was my top pick, 9, 6, 5, and 2. City of Light, good first-time out sire. The dam produced a couple of win early siblings. It's Todd Pletcher. So at 12-1, we'll take number 9 on top. Second spot, La Salvadorino. For Ray Handel, with the experience, looking at the other horses in this race with experience, this is probably the one with the edge, and so deservedly will take some action. Blackfoot Daisy also has a race under the belt. Was the favorite, showed some punch in that debut back in December at 6 on the synthetic. Now comes back for Wesley Ward. Sire can produce some win early types. Wesley Ward can certainly have them ready to sprint on the turf. So at a price, Blackfoot Daisy is interesting. Precisely for Wesley Ward, was the beaten favorite in debut last June, a year ago. But there was a couple of next out winners. I think this one could be interesting on the return as well. I have it 9, 6, 5, and 2.
All right, that wraps up our look at a 10 race card. You have 12 and 4, so a little, 10, 12, 14, going in order. It's beautiful. If you have a little time out today, it's a gorgeous day to be at the racetrack. We're on the turf. Listed would be intriguing. As I said, there's a thought out there that we won't very often see good or yielding turf action. So maybe it'll be listed as good. I'm not a weather person. It's hard to imagine it would be firm, right? I mean,
it's hard to imagine, yeah.
So we'll see.
The rain.
But terrific day as we march closer and closer. He stays, I go. I can see the first guest makes producers of television shows feel very relieved that they are in the house ahead of time. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.
This has been the Handicappers Report, brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.